If you've been following the tragic story of Yu Menglong, today's video is one you cannot miss. For weeks, fans have been drowning in confusion, unanswered questions, and heartbreaking silence. But now, in a twist no one expected, Yu Menglong's mother has finally broken her silence, her words raw, painful, and shattering. What she revealed doesn't just touch the heart, it opens up a storm of secrets, emotions, and shocking truths that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about his passing. Stay tuned, because this story only gets more intense, more heartbreaking, and more revealing with every detail. The cameras first caught her stepping out of her family home in Shanghai. Dressed in plain black, her face pale with grief, Yu Menglong's mother didn't walk with the composure of a celebrity's parent. She staggered, her hands trembling as if she were carrying the weight of the world. Dozens of reporters rushed toward her, microphones in hand, the air buzzing with questions. For weeks, she had avoided them, her silence only deepening the mystery. But that morning, she stopped. She turned. And with eyes filled with tears, she finally spoke. Her first words pierced through the chaos. My son did not deserve this," she said, her voice cracking but firm. "You all loved him as the shining star, but to me, he was my only child. And the truth is, he was crying out long before this tragedy happened." Gasps filled the crowd. Some reporters dropped their cameras, stunned. Fans watching live streams online began flooding the comments with disbelief. What did she mean by crying out? What followed was a heart-stopping confession. Yu Menglong's mother described sleepless nights where she heard her son pacing around their home, whispering to himself, replaying scripts, and sometimes, simply breaking down in tears. She painted a picture of a man admired by millions but tormented by something hidden. According to her, he often said, "Mama, sometimes the applause feels like knives. I smile, but inside, I am bleeding." Hearing these words now, in her trembling voice, left fans shattered. But it wasn't just the pain in her voice, it was the detail in her storytelling that stunned everyone. She spoke of the last night she saw him alive. Yu Menglong had come home late, carrying bags of his favorite snacks. He sat across from her at the dinner table, staring blankly at his bowl of rice. He told me, "Mama, I'm so tired. Not just of work, but of pretending. If I disappear one day, promise me you'll tell them I loved them." Her voice broke as she repeated his words. The silence that followed was deafening. Fans around the world who had tuned into the livestream began posting endless strings of crying emojis, unable to process what they were hearing. As she continued, she didn't hold back from pointing out the pressures Yu Menglong endured. She claimed that behind the glamour, he was suffocated by industry demands, endless schedules, and contracts that left him little room to breathe. "You all saw the handsome actor with the gentle smile," she said. "But behind closed doors, he was exhausted, collapsing in my arms at night, saying he couldn't go on." She wiped her eyes with a crumpled tissue as cameras zoomed in. Then came the part that shook the entire press conference. Yu Menglong's mother said she believed there was more to his passing than what had been reported. There were people around him, people who knew how vulnerable he was. But instead of protecting him, they pushed him harder. Her words were heavy, almost accusatory, and the reporters instantly erupted, shouting questions about who she was referring to. Was it his management company? Was it close friends? Was it someone in his personal life? She didn't name names, but her silence spoke volumes. What made the moment even more chilling was what she revealed about his phone. Just days after his death, she said she checked his messages. There, she found drafts of unsent texts, notes he had typed but never had the courage to send. One read, "I don't want to disappoint anyone, but I'm breaking. Please, let me rest." Another said, "If you love me, let me go." Hearing these words made fans online break down in tears, many leaving comments saying they wished they could have told him how much he was loved, how much his presence mattered. The atmosphere outside her home was surreal. Neighbors gathered, crying quietly. Fans had set up makeshift memorials with flowers, candles, and handwritten letters. As Yu Menglong's mother spoke, some fans in the crowd openly sobbed, holding pictures of him close to their chest. It wasn't just a press statement, it was a grieving mother finally tearing open the wound she had kept hidden. She also shared memories that made her son feel alive again in that moment. She spoke about how as a child, he would sing to her in the kitchen, standing on a stool with a wooden spoon as his microphone. She recalled how nervous he was before his very first audition, calling her 3 times just to hear her say, "You can do it, my son." Her words painted a picture of a man who, despite his fame, was always deeply tied to his family, always her little boy. But perhaps the most heart-wrenching part of her statement came when she addressed the fans directly. She clasped her hands together, bowed her head, and said, "Thank you for loving my son. Thank you for making him feel alive through your support. Please don't remember him for how he left us. Remember his smile, his songs, his roles, and the light he brought into this world. That is how I want my son to be remembered." Her plea resonated deeply, and fans across the world began flooding social media with photos, videos, and tributes to celebrate Yu Menglong's life rather than his passing. As she was escorted back into her home, the crowd stood in silence. Some reporters wiped away tears. Fans hugged each other, strangers united by grief. And as the livestream ended, one thing was clear: this wasn't just a mother speaking out. This was the unveiling of a story that went far deeper than anyone had imagined, a story of pressure, pain, and love. The internet exploded within minutes. Hashtags like #YouMenglong Mother Speaks Out and #Remember Yu Menglong began trending worldwide. Fans flooded comment sections with both heartbreak and anger. Some demanded investigations into the people who had surrounded him. Others simply wrote messages of love and support to his mother. One fan posted, "Her words broke me. We failed him. We cheered so loudly for his performances but never noticed the pain behind his eyes." Another wrote, "She is so strong. To speak like that while grieving shows her love. I'll never forget her words." But amidst the chaos, something beautiful emerged. Across China and beyond, fans organized candlelight vigils in his honor. Videos surfaced of crowds singing his songs under the night sky, their voices trembling but strong. Some even wore shirts with his face printed on them, holding candles high. It was as though his mother's words had reignited the love his fans held, turning grief into a united promise that Yu Menglong would never be forgotten. This story isn't just about a mother's grief, it's about what happens when silence is finally broken. Yu Menglong's mother gave fans the gift of truth, even if it was painful. She reminded everyone that behind the glitz of fame lies a fragile human being, and behind every superstar, there is a mother who still sees her child. And now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Yu Menglong's mother finally speaking out? Do you believe there's more to his story than what's been shared publicly? And how do you think fans should continue to honor his memory moving forward? The moment Yu Menglong's mother broke her silence, the world shifted. What started as a quiet mourning outside her home became a spectacle that no one could turn away from. The sound of shutters clicking filled the air as photographers tried to capture every second of her trembling voice, every tear that rolled down her face. It wasn't just another press moment, it was raw humanity on display, and you could feel the energy of everyone present hanging on her every word. As she stood there, clutching a folded piece of paper in her hand, her voice trembled but carried the weight of truth. That paper, she revealed, was the note she had found under her son's pillow the day after his passing. The crowd gasped. "He wrote this days before he left us," she whispered. It wasn't a goodbye letter, but it was a cry for help. She unfolded the paper slowly, the cameras zooming in, the silence deafening. Her voice cracked as she read the words, "Mama, I'm so tired of fighting battles no one sees. I'm surrounded by lights, but I feel like I'm living in shadows. Please don't hate me if one day I can't keep smiling anymore." The moment those words left her lips, reporters were no longer reporters, they were human beings choking back tears. Fans watching online flooded comment sections with words like heartbreaking, "We failed him, and this is too much to bear." She lowered the letter, staring blankly at the cameras. Then, with startling intensity, she said, "Do you understand now? My son wasn't weak. He wasn't ungrateful. He was carrying the weight of too much. And he begged silently, but no one listened." Her words echoed like thunder, leaving no one untouched. But her story didn't stop there. She described, in vivid detail, the last hug they shared. It was 2 nights before the tragedy. Yu Menglong had hugged her longer than usual, his face buried in her shoulder. He held on as if he didn't want to let go, she recalled, her hands trembling. He said, "Mama, thank you for always being my safe place." I didn't realize it was his way of saying goodbye. The crowd of fans standing behind the reporters began crying openly. Some knelt down, clutching photographs of Yu Menglong to their chests, whispering prayers. Others held up candles, their flames flickering in the daylight. The grief was so tangible, it felt like the whole street had turned into a living memorial. Her revelations didn't just paint a portrait of grief, they raised haunting questions. She spoke about how he often returned home after filming, his body exhausted but his mind restless. He used to sit on the floor of his room with scripts scattered everywhere, muttering to himself, practicing lines until his voice cracked. He once told me, "Mama, if I'm perfect on screen, maybe they'll forget how imperfect I feel inside." That confession revealed the unbearable weight of perfection that crushed him. Then came another chilling detail. His mother revealed that she had overheard heated phone calls between him and his management in the final weeks. He begged for time off, she said. But they told him, "If you stop now, your career is over." Do you know what that does to someone already on the edge? Her words carried accusation without naming names, but the implication was clear. The silence in the crowd grew heavier, almost suffocating, as people absorbed her revelations. The most unforgettable moment, however, came when she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, worn-out bracelet. She held it up for everyone to see. "This," she said, "is the bracelet he made for me when he was 10. He told me, 'Mama, this will protect you when I'm not around.' I wear it now because maybe it will protect me from the emptiness he left behind." The sight of her holding that bracelet, her fingers trembling, reduced even the toughest reporters to tears. Fans watching the livestream began doing something extraordinary. Many went into their own rooms, pulled out keepsakes from Yu Menglong's dramas, posters, DVDs, signed albums, and started posting them with the caption, "He will always protect us too." Within minutes, social media was flooded with photos of fans holding up their own mementos, transforming grief into a massive wave of unity and remembrance. But Yu Menglong's mother wasn't finished. She turned her gaze directly into the cameras, her eyes filled with both sorrow and strength, and addressed the fans personally. "He always worried about disappointing you," she said. "He read your letters, your messages, your posts. He told me once, 'Mama, they are my light. Please, don't let that light fade. Remember him not for the pain, but for the joy he gave you. That is the only way he will live forever.'" Those words sparked something powerful. Fans began to chant his name softly, their voices rising as if they were singing him home. "Yu Menglong, Yu Menglong," they repeated, their voices breaking but uniting into one. It felt less like a press event and more like a sacred farewell, a moment that would be etched in history. By the time she was escorted back into her home, the world had already been shaken. Media outlets replayed her words on loop. Hashtags exploded across platforms, turning the story into the #1 trending topic worldwide. But it wasn't just the media, it was the rawness of her confession that left everyone unable to look away. And as fans processed everything, one thought became clear: Yu Menglong's mother had given the world a gift. She had taken her son's hidden pain, his unheard cries, and delivered them with courage, ensuring that his story would not be reduced to silence. Her words made everyone realize that behind the glamorous world of fame lies a fragile human soul. And behind every superstar, there is a mother who sees the child no one else sees. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think of Yu Menglong's mother finally revealing these heartbreaking details? Do you believe the industry pressures she spoke of played a role in what happened? And most importantly, how do you think fans should continue to honor Yu Menglong's memory moving forward? If you found this story powerful, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with others who loved Yu Menglong, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more gripping stories like this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your voices, your feelings, and your tributes to Yu Menglong. Together, we can make sure his light continues to shine.